Police discover tunnel inside KFC and freeze as they realize who's on the other side. Officer John Irwin had encountered numerous situations during his tenure with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, yet nothing had prepared him for what he was about to witness. The chain of events began when HSI Special Agent Scott Brown entrusted him with leading a raid on a KFC establishment in Arizona. Brown had recently received an anonymous tip that cast suspicion on the fast food franchise, suggesting they were concealing more than just their famed 11 secret herbs and spices. In the memory of San Luis locals, there was a time when grabbing a bucket of fried chicken merely 200 yards from the Mexican border was commonplace. However, that all changed when the KFC enigmatically closed its doors to the public. Over time, the once popular eatery's exterior decayed, its sign faded under the relentless desert sun, and its paint started peeling away from the walls. Despite its emptiness for years, a peculiar sight remained. A few cars perpetually parked nearby, with no one knowing the reason behind it. Several months after the KFC ceased operations, lights started to flicker on within the building during the late hours of the night. Speculation among the locals began to circulate, suggesting a potential reopening of the establishment. However, amidst the hum of blasting and drilling sounds, the prevailing assumption was that the restaurant was undergoing a significant renovation. Contrary to expectations, the building remained resolutely closed, fueling a wave of rumors. One evening, well past regular working hours, HSI Special Agent Scott Brown's personal cell phone pierced the silence with its persistent ring. Initially irked by the late intrusion, Brown contemplated sending the call straight to voicemail. Yet, an uncanny intuition prompted him to answer in his gruff manner. Little did he anticipate that the voice on the other end would provide him with a tip-off of this magnitude. This unexpected information left him with no choice but to expedite the process of obtaining a warrant. Consequently, Immigration and Customs Enforcement swiftly secured the warrant needed to search the abandoned KFC building. Once authorization was granted, Officer John Irwin assumed command, leading a team of ICE agents tasked with the operation. When he entered the dusty kitchen, he discovered an 8-inch hole in the wall. He called for backup, and they began to chip away at the plaster surrounding the hole, revealing a deep shaft. What had they found? Officer John Irwin shone a flashlight into the pitch-black shaft and was astounded to see hundreds of wooden planks lining the walls. The team carefully climbed inside, down into a dark passageway. The tunnel was 3 feet wide and 5 feet tall, large enough for a man to fit easily inside. Officer Irwin took a deep breath and then disappeared into the tunnel. The officers followed, walking along the tunnel quietly and praying that armed guards weren't waiting for them on the other side. Just how deep did the passageway go, and what would they find? Suddenly, the silence was broken by the sound of footsteps running in the opposite direction. They weren't alone. That's when an unbelievable reality began to dawn on them. It occurred to Officer Irwin in an instant. The tunnel was positioned to go under the Mexican border, straight into Mexico. At the end of the 600-yard-long passage, they came to a ladder that led to a trapdoor in the ceiling. Officer John Irwin signaled for silence as they braced themselves for a moment. Then he kicked through the trapdoor. After swiftly breaking through the trapdoor, Officer Irwin cautiously peered out. Above him, he saw rusty bed springs. They would have to climb out to investigate. But when they did, they couldn't believe their eyes. They had ended up underneath a bed in a Mexican home. Then Officer Irwin noticed the long rope next to the trapdoor's entrance, but he didn't have time to inspect it. Someone was coming. The officers heard footsteps echoing through the tunnel and saw the faint beam of a flashlight. They stood back and waited, and the man practically walked into them. His eyes widened when he reached the top of the ladder and found himself surrounded by ICE agents. He had a suitcase in his hand, which was promptly confiscated. What had been going on here? The first puzzle piece fell into place by sheer coincidence. A few weeks before the tunnel's discovery, Border Police conducted a routine traffic stop on a man. After standard inquiries, his license and plate appeared valid. Just as the officers were about to release him, their service dog's sudden agitation drew their attention to his trailer. Upon searching the trailer, they uncovered 2 toolboxes containing illicit substances when opened. The revelation left them stunned. The man, identified as Ivan Lopez, was promptly apprehended. However, delving into his history revealed an audacious scheme that caught everyone off guard. Lopez's freedom ended, but his legacy was just unfolding. Following Lopez's arrest, HSI Special Agent Scott Brown received an unsettling call. An anonymous resident hinted that Lopez's crimes ran deeper than they had uncovered. Further investigation led Brown to uncover that Lopez had purchased the old KFC building, paying $390,000 in cash. Brown promptly alerted Immigration and Customs Enforcement, but was it quick enough? As the pieces came together, officials realized that the audacious underground tunnel's purpose was to facilitate Lopez and his associates in smuggling contraband into the U.S. from Mexico. Indeed, the seized toolboxes owned by Lopez contained narcotics valued at approximately $1 million. The method behind their successful evasion remained puzzling. According to authorities, owing to the tunnel's dimensions, those involved in the trafficking operation would descend via the trapdoor in the Mexican residence, traverse the 600-yard passage beneath the old KFC, deposit the contraband, and then utilize a rope through the 8-inch hole in the restaurant's wall for extraction. However, this particular tunnel isn't the first of its kind in Arizona. Tunnels demand a significant investment of time, yet their prevalence has increased in response to heightened border security measures, revealed HSI Special Agent Scott Brown. Nonetheless, the emergence of a tunnel stemming from an abandoned fast food restaurant holds substantial significance in the series of occurrences along the border. This significance is primarily due to the substantial quantity of narcotics being seemingly transported through it.